What's going on, guys? It's your boy Beats by Ash, back at it again with another banger of a video, and today I'm joined by my boy Aokar Ortiz, aka the Young Pen God, and to my knowledge, he was the only person that was able to top an event utilizing the newest wave of Draco Slayer support during the Darkwing Blast tier limit format, and he is back today to talk to us about the best way to play the new Majespecter cards that recently were released in Phantom Nightmare. So without further ado, let's get into the goo.
So let's get right into it. We're gonna be going through the basic effects that all Majespecters have, and that's the fact that they can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. This is super nice, lets you dodge Imperm on all of your searchers, dodge Veiler, and if something was to destroy your stuff, if your stuff gets negated by a Baron or something, you don't have to worry about it getting destroyed. Super nice. Starting off with Bambuku though, he is probably the best searcher in the deck. Just lets you add a monster. Super versatile. Super nice. Then we have Triple Yada. Yada lets you search out the new spell. We'll get into that later when we go over the spells, but Yada is also a one card starter just like Bambuku. Super strong. Here we have the brand new Majespecter Porcupine. This card is crazy. Having an extender in this deck is just super nice, especially because you can play it during your opponent's turn. And on play, Porcupine allows you to set a quick play spell from your grave, which can either be disruption or even more searching capabilities or summoning. We got one Nekomata. Nekomata is probably the worst out of all of them, but the fact that it does add you one during the end phase is super nice, especially because you could stack it on with another monster in your extra deck that would also do the same thing, allowing you to add two pendulums during your end phase. We have double QB. QB lets you add a trap. Your traps are good, but not good enough. That's why we play two. Then we have triple Ogama. Ogama lets you set a trap or spell from deck. That's pretty versatile, really nice. You can do it during your opponent's turn, during your turn. It dodges Droll, dodges Ash. Ogama can't really be hit by literally any hand trap. We're going to be moving on to the Majespecter spells next. Triple Majespecter Winds, brand new, released in the newest set. This card is crazy. So it either lets you summon one from hand or grave, or you contribute a wind spellcaster to summon one from your deck. That card's crazy. Lets you dodge Imperm on your extra deck stuff. Lets you continue your combos by adding or summoning Porcupine through Bambuku. It's super good. For the next Majespecter spell, we have Majespecter Cyclone. These are going to be our disruption for our spells. It's pretty good. You only really need one of it because it's super recyclable with your Porcupine. I'm going to be playing Triple Majesty's Pegasus. Technically not a Majespecter spell, but it does let you search for more Majespecters by tributing. The tributing is super important and something that's also one of your gimmicks for this deck. There's multiple ways to that's going to be to our benefit, but the fact that it lets you get another card in your your extra deck is super nice. Next for the traps, double Majespecter Tornado. Tornado just gonna banish a monster on field. We're gonna have a way to lock out of our opponents out of 1/3 of the game mechanics, because we're going to stop them from having spells. By stopping them having spells, this is going to get rid of their monsters. We're going to be denying them even more access to some of their fundamental mechanics. Along with Majespecter Tempest. Tempest just is a solemn warning by tributing a wind spellcaster. It's pretty good. Next, we're going to be moving on to the Draco Slayer package. It is really nice just to have in there, especially because we're going to find out it can also let you add any field spell in the game. We're going to have our one Luster Pendulum. Luster Pendulum, it's a good tuner. That's really the only reason that you want it. It also lets you add another card from your scale if necessary with the same name. Next, we're going to have our Dynamite Power Load. This card's really nice because it lets you get an extension by a summoning from your scales, or if you tribute it, it lets you add another Draco Slayer from your extra deck to your hand. Very versatile. Now for the best one, Majesty's Pegasus. Technically this is a Draco Slayer and a Majespecter, but this card lets you search for any Draco Slayer as long as there's another card in your pendulum scale with the Draco Slayer name, or Majespecters. So it can search you for either of these two, which is why we only play one of each. It also lets you add on summon, either being special summoned by a Draco Slayer effect or by being pendulum summoned, lets you add any field spell in the game and then you discard a card. This is super nice because if you pendulum summon out a lot of cards at the same time, you can have that as Chain Link 1 And then if you have like Chainlink 2, Yada, Chainlink 3, Bambuku, you can discard one of those cards instead if you have no cards in hand. It's super, super nice. Adds you a lot of broken cards, as we'll see. Draco Face Off lets you get any of these Draco Slayers out from deck, but you have to play your one Granite of the deck, and that's going to be your Lecter Pendulum. Pretty bad card. Crazy in the mirror. If there's ever someone that, you know, is actually going to be playing that, which you probably won't encounter, but very bad card to draw into because you need it in deck for your Draco Face Off. But Draco Face Off is absolutely broken and should be played. Next, we're going to get into our more generic stuff. We're going to be having our Necro Valley and our Seeker Village are two broken field spells for the deck. Drawing into these feels good. Absolutely broken. Cameraman hates them. Sorry, John. You're not allowed to have fun. I own Necro Valley. Necro Valley stops anything that has to do with the grave. Make sure that you know Necro Valley doesn't negate everything in grave. It only stops stuff from moving out of grave. So your opponent can still pop something or search if it just activates in grave, which is why I like going with Seeker Village of the Spellcasters sometimes, because Seeker Village just says no spells, and I really like that, especially whenever you can have double Tempest set and deny your opponent's monster effects as well. Seems pretty fun. For the remainder of the deck, closing out the 41, triple talents, cards broken, can't deny it, lets you draw 2 or get rid of a card of your opponent's hand, or take one of their cards. We like that. And then the one called by, because we like called by. Dodge hand traps. Fuck draw. That concludes the main deck. Pretty sure it's 41. We're going to be moving on to the extra deck now. We're going to be starting off with the main core and then moving on to some of the flex spots. The most broken card of the deck, the Majespecter Niue. This card is absolutely insane. It is minimum a +2. It lets you add 2 Majespecters from your extra deck to your hand, dodging Droll, dodging Ash. If they attempt to Veiler or Imperm this, you have Majespecter wins to Tribute. So you can dodge essentially any hand traps using this card. And then it's not even done. You can add 2 from your deck to your extra deck with different names. So, you know, you just don't have a spell or trap searcher, you know, you need to add a Winds, put a Yada up there, put a QB up there, you know, whatever you need, just summon it. It's really, really broken. Moving on to the other new Majespecter, we got Draco Ryu. This card is absolutely broken as well. It just says whenever a card is tributed, doesn't matter what it is, you can detach a card, special summon a level 6 or lower wind spellcaster. This lets you get out free resources from deck. It is absolutely busted. It's twice per turn. So you can do it twice on your turn, twice on your opponent's turn. Kind of broken. Please unban Majespecter Kieran. It deserves to come back. There's only one other wind spellcaster in the deck that's playable. That's level 6. And that's Oath Dragon. Come on, give me Kieran. Please, I'm begging. It also says, fun fact, that if it's tributed or destroyed, it gets to go into your pendulum scale. That's great because its scale effect says that you can just add a Majespecter from deck to hand every single turn if you have a Draco Slayer or a Majespecter in your other scale, which you're gonna. That's all your deck is. Moving on to the Draco Slayer core of the extra. 1, Dynamite Power Load. This is how you're going to be tributing off your Dynamite in your main deck to add back a free card from extra. And it also triggers your Draco Ryu, which is absolutely broken in your combo. 1, Majesty's Paladin. So if you combine this with your Nekomata, you get 2 cards in hand during your end phase. Absolutely very nice to have. If you have excess stuff, you know, you still have 1 Ryu material in the monster, you know, you don't really want to make another for your next turn, you can just make this, add a free card. And it can also special summon a Draco Slayer from extra by detaching one. Does have to be to a Link Zone though, remember that. And then for the most broken of the 3, we're gonna have Ignister Prominence. This card is crazy. Special summon a Draco Slayer from deck, soft once per turn by the way. And then you can target one of your pendulum cards, either in scale or on field, and then non-targeting, just shuffle back a card. Very, very strong removal. Also, side note, Dynamite Power Load has a very, very, very strong effect. It says that your pendulum monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, card effects, or targeted, I believe. No, just can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. Very, very strong for protecting your Draco Ryu, and especially whenever you have your board set up and you're trying to shell up. But yeah, that Snake Eyes is very, very annoying to play against. I was testing it earlier. Definitely very disgusting. That's why you'll want to avoid it.
Just to quickly clarify, when Ortiz says to avoid the Flamberge Dragon, what he means is you want to play in a way where if your opponent uses the effect of Flamberge Dragon while face up on the field to target a monster on your opponent's field or in their graveyard and place it in their spell and trap card zone, you want to have some kind of setup to where your opponent cannot just place one of your monsters into into your Pendulum Zone, which is a part of the Spell and Trap card zone, because in those scenarios, you are essentially locked out of Pendulum Summoning for the rest of the game unless you can access a Tornado Dragon, which ultimately results in a auto loss. And some of the best things that you can do to avoid this are not playing hand traps so that you don't provide any graveyard targets, as your main deck Majespecter monsters cannot be targeted anyway, so there is no problem there. But your new Link monster, Niue, is the only Majespecter that can be targeted while it is on the field or in the graveyard, because it is not a pendulum, so it will not go to the extra deck when it leaves the field. So one of the best things you could do is, if you're going to put your Niue in the graveyard going into your opponent's turn, then if you have something like a Majespecter wins, you could respond to your opponent's Flamberge effect to place it in the Spell and Trap card zone and bring back your Niue to your monster zone. Ortiz is a judge, so he has told me that because the monster is switching locations, it is treated as a new card and therefore will not be placed into the Spell and Trap card zone. The same thing could be said about if your Niue is already on field and your opponent tries to use the Flamberge effect. You could then respond with any of your other Majespecter Spell or Trap cards that tribute as a cost to activate their effect, as that would also change the location of the monster, treating it as a separate card.
Next, we're going to have our two main cards. We have Beyond and Exceed the Pendulum. These are going to be your going second plays. Beyond the Pendulum is very, very strong just because it lets you add a card from deck to hand, but it also, whenever you pendulum summon, if you summon two cards that have two different levels to those zones, you get to pop two cards. Very strong removal, and it can let you destroy your own stuff if needed. And then Exceed the Pendulum, also another strong card, lets you add a card from your extra deck to your hand, and then once per turn, quick effect, you can special summon out a pendulum monster that you could pendulum summon from your hand or your graveyard. So you can recur those resources super easily. Next, we're gonna have the expensive card, SP Little Knight. No reason to not play it. Card is absolutely busted. And you can also bring back Niue from your grave with wins. So you can go into your SP Little Knight if needed, just off rip during the start of your turn. Very, very strong.
One thing Ortiz wanted to note about SP Little Knight is that if you do not already own the card, it is not necessary by any means, as so far he has not had the card come up in any of his games at any of the tournaments he has played in thus far.
For the other two Link monsters we are playing in the deck, we're gonna have Access Code Talker and Apollosa. Access Code for the OTKs, Oppo for whenever your Niue gets negated and you can still, go into non-Draco Slayers or Majespecters. Sometimes you can end up making it. It's pretty nice. For the remainder, we're gonna have our three last Exceed monsters: Abyss Dweller, Tornado Dragon, and Zeus. These cards are the ones that made the cut. Tornado Dragon's pretty debatable. I like it because whenever you're playing into Snake Eyes, sometimes they can just put a card in your pen scale. It's absolutely disgusting. I am a victim of this. There's not really anything you can do most of the time. That's why usually you're going to want to avoid playing hand traps like I am in the deck. Just because if you do, you will get your stuff put into your pen scale and you are going to cry. That's why Tornado Dragon is pretty nice. You can pop it. Abyss Dweller kind of just kills all grave decks, and Zeus is just a broken card, and you have a lot of Exceed monsters, so why not play him? And that's going to be it for the deck profile. Thank you so much, guys, for getting through the entirety of this video. If you made it this far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Maybe ring that bell. And if you have any questions about the deck or anything, maybe you think that you can make some upgrades. Why am I not playing this? Why am I not playing that? Leave them down in the comments. And you guys got to remember, it's not the goo, it's got to go. Peace.